including this augment?
Go boldly. On my mark. Ready? Go fast.
What are they doing?
Saving us all.
Yes, that's right. Star Trek Prodigy Season 1, Episode 20, Supernova Part 2 has been released here on this Thursday, December 29th, 2022. We're finally done Season 1, but we're just getting started, actually, here on Live Long and Podcast for our live review, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. You might be listening to the audio version. We hope you all had a happy Christmas and or Hanukkah or Boxing Day and all of the above that took place between the last episode and this. I'm Dave Mader, and I'm joined with the crew I started with some time ago when we started this Season 1 journey. Now we are here at the end of 2022. First, we got Davan Skelhorn coming to us from the Maritimes, and now we're even later at 9:30.
Yes. It is 9:33. Get any spare pain?
I have no spare pain, but you're in a future time, a distant future, much like Chakotay is by the end of this episode. Spoilers ahead, of course. And we have Jessica Chan with us tonight. Jessica, here to talk about this episode and this season. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good.
Good. Davan, what did you think of this episode?
Loved it.
You loved it.
Great end to the season. This episode kind of made me wish that there wasn't that break and it was just a full season, because it tied it all together pretty nice. And knowing that the events of the first season were just a single season makes the show even better. Like, to know that now they're working with Starfleet. Like, I was worried that this show was going to be them on the run the whole time,
Right?
like for seasons.
Yeah,
And
it didn't
glad
seem sustainable, really.
Yeah, but I had that concern just because they kept finding ways to keep it going. But I love where it's at. I'm super excited for season 2.
Yeah, well, I concur, but I want to go to Jessica next. Jessica, how did you feel about this finish to season 1?
I thought it was excellent. I had kind of the same sentiment as Davin, but in regards to these last 2 episodes, like, I feel like people who watch it on streaming are going to have a much better experience, because I feel like this was good, but the break was like, it just kind of felt hard to get back into it. Like, I think watching the 2 together would have been a much better experience, because this felt more like an epilogue than its own episode. Or like it just felt like it would have been so much better as a one long episode rather than splitting it in 2. So, but otherwise, I thought it was really good.
And it's fine if you have to break it up for, I guess, even syndication purposes. But why not just air this as one hour or something like that, or release them together in one day instead of splitting them up over this week? But that's, who knows how they make these decisions. Of course, we have people here in the live chat like Sam. How was everyone's Christmas and holiday? Seems like I got thumbs up.
I got this sweet pain
hoodie.
Looks
cloak.
good.
Yeah, it's not a hoodie. It's a robe.
Oh,
Is it
looks
a
comfy.
tartan? What's this pattern?
It's for receiving pain. Well, it is. It's similar to a tartan, but it's not quite.
Yeah,
At least not one that I know of. Not a clan I've seen.
No, not Clan Mackenzie, our grandmother's
certainly
clan. Right. Will there be a season 2 is the big question here for Prodigy. I think so.
The way this ended, 100%.
I think
100%. They were planning it the whole time, clearly.
I don't know how editing on Internet Movie Database works, but there's already like a little blank slot for season 2 there. So if that means anything,
I think it has been announced. But even if it hadn't been, I feel like it's completely deserving of one as well.
I think it's been
regardless.
successful for a kid's show, hasn't it? Like, I don't keep up on viewer numbers or if anyone does anymore, but
I haven't been following. Yeah, like, does this have a following? I know a lot of our friends haven't necessarily watched it. Even in the Live Long and Podcast community, aren't necessarily up on it. Maybe they're waiting to binge it all at once, which seems very
a good idea.
possible considering these episodes are only 22 minutes each and they're fast. I haven't, because I've been watching week to week since all of these come out. I really don't know what that experience would be like now. I could try to do rewatch something from the past, but I know Jessica, you've done that with some of the Lower Deck seasons, right? Where you've just kind of powered through them.
Yeah, I watched it all in like one big chunk. Not by choice. Like I wasn't. I mean, I'm very impatient and I have a hard time waiting. But it just we didn't have a chance to watch it week to week, so we did it all in one go, which was good. But then you're sad because it's all done and you don't have anything to look forward to.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into the episode. Run through all the visuals. Supernova Part 2. This episode written separately by Kevin and Dan Hageman, as opposed to the previous episode, which was written by Aaron McNamara. So I get, just in terms of how it felt like it was just, this wasn't its own episode, but it is billed as one. Ben Hibben directs this one, separate director as well as the other one. So it seems like these were done on two different production runs. And we pick up from the last episode, which was all about the destruction. Everything was looking very bleak, and the protostar is in the midst of the fleet destroying itself, while that it's infected it with the living construct. Looking not so great here for the crew. But there's only 22 minutes, and there's a lot to get through. So this does kind of move very fast. I watched it twice, just to get a sense of it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's like okay, we got yes, everything is ending, and everyone's about to die. On the other hand, we don't have time to mess around. Let's go. So what are we gonna do? I think it's Rock Talk who comes up with the solution of like, why don't we use the proto drive to?
I love this solution.
Destroy the ship, right?
Episode. It could have been in a Voyager episode. The idea of doing it at the exact moment to spread it out over space-time so no one location is destroyed by a supernova is amazing. Is
that what was going on? That the high? I was not necessarily even.
If your explosion happens while at proto warp, you're going so fast that the explosion is more like a spread out line.
Right. It can't destroy any one place, if it happened in normal space, it would destroy at least like the radius of a solar system.
58 million miles, they say, which they say miles. Get out of here. They never say miles in Star Trek. Nitpick.
It does confirm what I said when Janeway was ready to blow up the protostar that other episode, and I was like, wouldn't that release the star and like blow up things for a long, like a huge? And yeah, I was right. So I guess we're just glossing over that. Or maybe that was a sacrifice she was willing to make. Who knows? It's the neutral zone. Who cares about what's in there?
Well, Janeway makes crazy calls. We've seen it.
Yeah, Janeway can be a bit ruthless. And hologram Janeway, for that matter, who we lose in this episode, guys. Death of hologram Janeway. I don't know, because we still have Prime Janeway by the end. It's kind of a weird death, but they are two different characters, and this is sort of the end of hologram Janeway as we know her in this form. She has her ending, as does the original protostar. They lose this ship by the end of this as well. It's going down, but they'll get a new one by the end, a la Star Trek Beyond or whatever. So but initially it was going to be Dal who was going to sacrifice himself, but Janeway's like, well, you can just make a copy of my hologram, and because Dal's like, I'll never make it to Starfleet Academy, so I can have a death wish and get going here. But they kind of they go on the run here to try to do this plan, right? And Janeway, what are they doing? I think I have the clip here actually.
What are they doing?
Saving us all.
Saving us all.
I love this episode.
It was nice. They go in here. They're avoiding all the fights. Some great visuals. Some great animation. We go through here. Beauty shots. Amok. This moment here where we have Jacob and Dal speaking in the engine room, where Jacob talks about being a miracle worker.
Jacob's not just an engineer, he's a miracle worker.
Rock Talk is in the fabrication bay, making their little lifeboat that they're going to eject out of here before the ship is destroyed. They don't even have time for seats or anything. Okay, They lived in this thing for a month, guys. Is this what we're told by the end of this episode? Like 1 month later, they crashed on Earth and they were living in that lifeboat for a month, and there might have been whales involved. I'm not sure, but maybe now we're gonna find out later.
With that,
yeah. This was a very small boat that they ended up in here. Escape pod. Anyway, we see Janeway was planning to copy her hologram, but there's insufficient capacity on isolinear chip, Davan. You can't fit it all. I couldn't help but
that's the miracle of the mobile emitter. We were knocking the mobile emitter before, saying you could just carry around a holo emitter, which is a bit bigger, but you could do it. What's the big deal?
Right.
There it is. There you have it.
You can't. It's not just about the emitter. It's about the computer systems that have to run the hologram itself.
The way she words it later is very sweet, where she's like, because of you kids, I've grown, and you've expanded my program, and now it won't fit.
But okay, but
so it's your fault. No.
Yeah, so it's your fault.
When we were kids, Jessica, like, you know, sometimes you would buy a video game or something. It would come on multiple discs. You could have, you know, maybe like part 1 of the hologram Janeway could have been on one isolinear chip, and part 2 could have been on another one. You know.
I think she was also saying that I think it wasn't that they could do it, but they just didn't have the time to actually like to transfer, like to download all that data. Like there wasn't enough time, and every second wasted.
Was she telling the truth originally? Did she have the intention of trying to do this, or was this always a ruse?
Yes.
I think so. No, she had a shocked look when she did that. So I think
let's have the look here. Oh, whoops! I'm too big now.
Definitely a shocked look. Definitely.
Yeah, Dal comes in and she kind of just like, you know, covers it up. Does her acting style.
To contend with your point there for a second, Dave, would it not be the case perhaps that she would have to dismantle her program to put it onto 2 isolinear chips, therefore destroying herself?
I don't know. I don't know about the.
I don't know how that works either, because it's
It's hollow engineering. It's basically software engineering, and a software engineer, perhaps if we had one present with our panel, could explain this to us. But I guess none of us would really know. But I think you can break the data up. Maybe it's an involved process.
I think she said something in her speech like there just wasn't enough time to. Mm-hmm. She said something about time.
This probably was possible, but it was not with the time they had. You know. Yeah. So. Maybe her original holo program, without any of the add-ons or additional memory, could have potentially fit on this chip, but no, not now.
Or something else they'd have to build, probably like something they needed to replicate that was large enough to fit. I don't know, something.
But they think this.
Maybe they needed to replicate a second isolinear chip.
Multiple.
They only had one.
Yeah.
They only had one.
They had one.
Yeah,
a whole box of floppy disks.
there's a moment here where hologram Janeway says goodbye to Murph, and there's a hug.
That's a fun thought experiment. How many floppy disks would it take to hold hologram Janeway?
A lot of floppy disks. Where you're just loading her, like insert next disc, and you're just going for hours.
Oh man, I remember having to do that. Change DVDs partway through.
Or those floppy disks where you had to, like, the bigger ones where you would like put the switch down when you had to.
I loved the switch.
Yeah. So they leave here, but they kind of say goodbye to. They think that Janeway's coming with them because they think they have a backup of her program, but they kind of say goodbye to the ship here. Especially, Jankum, as an engineer, is most attached to the ship, and says goodbye here, comforted by rock talk. A lot of heart in this episode. And Janeway hologram says, it was like an honor to serve with you all, and they're like, okay, well, we'll see you in like 2 minutes. It's cool, right? But she said the way she says it, they should have known. They should have known by the way she says it.
Yeah, she used a past tense. Yeah, and it should have been a dead giveaway.
But I mean, that version of her is dying.
Yes.
Even if she was coming with that, she still has to die technically from her perspective.
Version would have
death.
Like 5 minutes more experience than
not enough, not a ton of time. Yeah, whereas she's a Starfleet hologram, so she's willing to make the sacrifice. Of course, they all get into their lifeboat here. It's a tight fit, as we mentioned. No toilets. We're not sure what's going on. And so they just kind of hop in, and they have to get out of this thing while it's at proto warp, right? Or at least at regular warp. Anyway, so they do get out of here. Boom, boom, boom. Going.
So it can't even propel itself like out, right? That's what I took from it because they kind of let it float into space rather than.
Yeah, they said the
taking
engines.
off.
The engines are crude. They explain here. Oh, and then we see here Dal and Gwyn holding hands, and they're kissing by the end. They're smooching here by the end.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, they kind of just fall out of the cargo bay here, and ship keeps going. And they kind of just watch it here. A little bit like Star Trek 3 when they blow up the Enterprise, you know.
I was gonna say, fine Star Trek tradition, blowing up your ship.
Yeah, you gotta blow up the ship sometimes to save the day. It's like it's a Star Trek trope.
It's amazing how many problems can be solved that way. Really.
Yeah, hologram Janeway is going down with the ship. It was, she was with the ship for thousands of years before it was discovered in Tars Lamora, right? So it's like this is almost ancient, the original protostar. Going out here, and it has an end to its time loop here. So we're gonna see if that destiny is fulfilled. They don't necessarily have to worry about there being two protostars amok here so much after this. So yeah, so it goes into the proto warp, and for the last time we see it buzzing away, and there hologram Janeway goes into the great beyond. And,
emotional moment.
Yeah, it's very emotional. It turns into a proto star.
Really, season 1 is like the hologram Janeway saga.
Yeah.
I just want you all to know what an honor it was to serve alongside you.
She says,
Dead giveaway.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she does. This is where she said the whole.
On my mark. Ready? Go fast.
Go fast. That was my favorite.
I like that one.
Go fast.
Go fast is it's better than punch it.
Anyway, so then they're kind of waiting around here, and we see that that they managed to destroy, or the virus is purged from their system once the proto star, the ultimate construct, or whatever the heck it was called, is destroyed. Living construct is now that the living construct has been destroyed. The Klingon who came in here to help in part 1, she's about to face down some torpedoes. It looks like from the Centaur, and then it goes red to blue, blue good, red bad. Yo, punch it, Jeff Mader says.
Jeff Mader says, "Yo, punch it for sure." Yeah.
So we were right that infected ships can infect other ships, but it was kind of like a live link. That needed to be existing.
Yes,
for
it needed the
continue.
mothership, so it could go out Independence Day style or Phantom Menace style.
More like relays. For like the ships are just relays, kind of from like
kind of spreading
sending out
the virus,
the signal. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they say, well, the protostar is gone. No life signs. It would take so many lifetimes to search for them, Captain. Tice says this to Janeway, and she's like, "Get on it. I don't care how long it takes. They just saved everybody. Like, go to hell." Like, she's always having to get mad at people. Like, do you not know how great these kids are on the protostar and the Star Trek Prodigy? Get with it. It's almost like it's other people she's telling, like, you should be watching Prodigy. See how great.
No one on her bridge crew has kids, you see, so they don't really get it. They're not feeling it. Neither does she, but she likes dogs.
She's got hollow kids, right?
Yeah, she's got horrible hollow, and she can love.
Yeah,
those
who want
hollow
cucumber
kids.
sandwiches?
Anyone.
But here we see the goodbye of hologram Janeway, where she says,
Why is Janeway tiny? That's not her hologram.
I bet right now Jankum is wondering why I'm not a hologram and just a pre-recorded message.
What does she mean, pre-recorded?
What does she mean by that, guys? I thought, and then the Rock Talk's like, what's going to happen? Where's Janeway? She was very sad. So they're all kind of realizing that she's gone forever, that they couldn't fit her in there. I got some moments here.
I did what I had to so that you could fulfill your potential. I'm truly proud to have seen how far you've all come. My only regret is not being there when you arrive at the steps of Starfleet Academy.
You know, goes
Some
on.
heartwarming stuff in this one.
Heartwarming stuff. Some pretty
It's
good
got
stuff.
action. It's got a
Yeah.
sweet science concept early on.
Yeah.
It's great.
You may think you need me to get there, but after seeing everything you've accomplished, I have full confidence you'll find your way.
No.
You know, go boldly. And she goes, "Oh, it was nice. It was nice." You know, and like Kate Mulgrew has to carry so much of this episode, and these two different versions of her character. You know, it's really nice and works well. You know, and there's kind of like a finality to the season with her leaving the hologram Janeway, even though
Less character for Mulgrew to play.
yeah, less for her to do.
I do hope in season 2 that they make some reference to, like, if one of the kids is like, "Oh, remember when we did this?" and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're not her. You're a different Janeway." Just as like a nod, like they still remember her, that she's, you know,
Right.
Or snicker
not
at
just
how
for-
they like the other Janeway better.
I don't
You're
want
like
like
our old Janeway.
You're like the old Janeway. She was much
Yeah.
nicer. Yeah.
I just want it to be some gravity in season 2 rather than just like, well, we got the new one. Who cares? Like, just, you know, remember
The
her
real
from
one,
time
the
to
real
time.
one, the flesh and
Yeah.
blood one.
Because together, your potential is infinite. Now, go boldly.
Go boldly. Lead the way, guys.
Aw.
Fantastic. This is great stuff.
Yeah.
Tons of nice Janeway speeches.
Maybe she can hook up with that. Maybe somehow she'll survive. She can hook up with that hologram of the the doctor that's floating around in the future.
Yeah, well, it's a few
Oh
centuries
my.
before he's gonna get on. But yeah.
Well, she went through space time, so you know maybe she could end up there. They could meet up.
Be
So-
something.
We get a bit of a time jump here in this episode. Janeway, Jeff Mander says Janeway was never this optimistic. Well, Admiral Janeway is, Jeff. Watch out. 1 month later, Starfleet
Hard being
headquarters.
trapped in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah, she
It's
came
hard.
out. She came out a little softer, maybe. Although I wouldn't have called that.
Mm.
Yeah, and so they're kind of explaining the science of it, like even though they explained it twice in the episode, and I watched it twice, Davan. I'm glad you did explain this to me. How
That's great. I love it.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it more in the science division here at Live Long a Podcast, I'm
yeah.
sure.
It was a new trick. You know, and this Vulcan guy, he was a little bit of a jerk. He was
He's
kind of-
cool. I like him.
He was talking about the ones that stole the criminals.
Ah, the one stolen by the criminals on Tars Lamora. Yes.
You mean the heroes that saved our hides when we nearly destroyed ourselves?
Well, sort of. It was kind of like Trojan horse thing though, that they brought it to you, and I don't know. It's kind of complicated, but you know.
But if they hadn't intervened, then the diviner would have definitely brought it to their doorstep. So they did.
True. So they did save them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And we find out we get to hear there's a message, guys. One we haven't heard before. This is what the hologram Janeway did manage to send or transmit right before she was destroyed. Where's my Chakotay?
Mayday. Mayday. It's day 72 since the Val Nakot captured the Protostar. They're planning to launch it back through the wormhole with a weapon aboard. Half my crew's gone, but I'm trying to hang on.
I like how he's like through the wormhole. I like how he says wormhole. And they're like, okay.
So was his crew only 6 people? Because we saw him walk out with like one on his arm and then one.
Maybe on 4
Was there
people.
one?
Maybe
So it's like
4.
half the crew. Is
Half the crew.
6
Yeah, it's just
crewmen?
him and the Birdman left. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we don't know what's going on, but there's more. He's alive in a future time. We're told here.
This was sent from another time, in an alternate future.
Like 50
Alternate
years in the future. Or something.
52 years in the future. You know.
What do they mean by alternate future?
Yeah, why is it an alternate future? Is this like
It's not their future.
it's not their future? They've changed it. So is that so that Gwyn doesn't cease to exist? So that if they change the timeline, is that why?
Maybe.
Is that why they've done this?
That makes sense.
Because normally it's all about preserving the timeline, and there's not alternate timelines and all these things, but that's normally Star Trek's rule. But it's they might be breaking from that and doing alternate timelines and more. It seems like they want to get into more alternate realities. We saw a lot of this in Discovery as well, not just the mirror universe, but more.
I guess that would make sense. Alternate though, right? Because they've already changed things, regardless of what they went back in time. Like all of those
things though?
All those Starfleet ships got blown up that wouldn't have otherwise. And then Essentia was in Starfleet, and who knows how many of them were messing around. So they must have changed things.
But is Chakotay already gone back in time, or is he out there still?
So I think he started like he went. Yeah. So yeah, he went back. He brought them the protostar in the first place. Okay. I think she just used the energy to reopen the wormhole. So it's not a loop. This is she directed the energy of the explosion to recreate the wormhole to that place that he went in the first place. Okay. But that future doesn't exist anymore because of everything the Diviner did. That future would be completely changed, right?
Right. I guess it's timey-wimey. I'll just whatever you tell me it is, I'll accept it. I'm not going to get too hung up on the time travel of it all. Because Vulcans would tell you it doesn't exist. Okay, so in the next scene, we see here that it's them, guys. They've landed here in the bay. Look overhead, and we kind of see the bridge is not even a road anymore, guys. You can't even walk on Golden Gate Bridge. It's just a bunch of solar panels. I don't know if I've ever had that confirmed to me so up close, but that's exactly.
I've never seen that. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that's all it is. And they're just in there. Now, Jane said she saw whales. I see some runabouts maybe or something.
I thought that was just debris. Is that?
Yeah, it's debris.
Or are those dolphins? No, there might be whales. I don't know.
It looks like debris to me. I think it's just looks like broken parts of a ship. I think I think they crash landed. That's what it looks like.
They crash landed. Okay, they're here. They're way small. This is them.
But they're on the roof, not within the shuttle. So
I think these are meant to be whales.
I think
what?
There'd be whales there.
Look, there's a pipe over there. There's a broken
zoom in again
coming off of this one.
Oh, let me skip another image.
Look, that's like a broken hull.
It's a broken piece.
This scene goes on for several seconds, and none of those whales move. What are they? Just frozen whales?
They might be frozen whales. I don't know.
I think it's debris from their shuttle. I think we're just seeing the roof of the shuttle. I think parts of it fell off as they crashed into the.
But these are runabouts, right? Davan, that we're looking at here on the screen?
Yeah, they're cool, eh?
Cool looking runabouts. Yeah. They actually have registry numbers here. We can see NCC 74555A.
That sounds like those sound like fake numbers that you have on phone numbers in movies. 555
film. Okay, and so they see here so I don't know how they were living in this little boat for a month. But they did. And so they come
That's
in
what
here.
I'm saying. I think I think some of it broke off. That's what the debris is around them. I think it broke up as they entered the atmosphere. That's what all that stuff is around them.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Okay, so they're in now it's time to face the music, guys, here, because this is a 22-minute show and we have to get through things. So
the list of offenses would take me all afternoon to read.
Yeah.
Even illicitly inhabiting the mind of an esteemed admiral.
Is it going into face a tribunal and one of them's a Tellarite? You're just going to be like, no.
Tellarite judge is not going to
go well.
Yeah, so it's a Tellarite admiral, an Andorian, and I think a Vulcan. And the Tellarite is kind of leading things. He's here you can't be going here.
The Academy is not a space camp for children. This is a serious, disciplined institution designed for only our brightest.
It's very, very noble. What do you think of these?
I mean, it's kind of a space camp for children.
It's not a space camp for children.
Kind of is. Yeah.
Yet you want us to consider letting them apply to Starfleet Academy?
This is a academy, not a. Those sounds like bones.
This guy's a fleet admiral. He's got 5 pips.
Oh wow.
They're all kind of a-holes, man. And I gotta say, I'm getting a little disappointed in the like. I know Janeway's there, but like they're all minors, guys. These are all children.
Why do they
should
have gloves?
some-
Why do these admirals' uniforms have like fingerless gloves? It's an odd choice.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
There you go. They're
Essentia had
all.
those.
That's why they're so mean. All imposters. They're
There's
all.
no reason
Voldemort.
for them
That's what
to.
it
It's not,
is.
like, are they cold?
They're all
on Earth.
diviners.
Yeah,
They're all
that's what it is.
diviners? They
They're
might be all
Voldemort.
diviners. They might be like imposters. This is a dead giveaway, perhaps. For these admirals are gonna turn out bad here. This Andorian one, she barely never talks. I don't think in the scene, but the Vulcan and the Tellarite do, and they're kind of giving it to the tribunal, saying you stole the ship and you impersonated an admiral and you did it all. And this
Stole the ship from who? They reclaimed it. It was sitting there. No one was. No
They
one
were
was using it.
refugees. Yeah, it's kind of
Maritime salvage.
Yeah, it's the time-honored tradition of making the admirals idiots, Jessica. Therefore, they're always out of touch and they don't get it.
Yeah.
But not Admiral Janeway. She's an exception, but she's one of the good ones. But
She's one of the good ones.
I just can't imagine. Like, I get where they're going for because this is just kind of how movies and TV work. But like, I just can't imagine in a utopian future that you would take a bunch of frightened children, put them in front of a like tribunal, like war crimes court, and like try them like this. Like these kids need counselors. They need some psychiatrists. They need like. They should be wrapped in little like those little foil blankets you give emergency kids and like.
What about the written and oral tests, psych evaluations? This is unprecedented, even reckless.
They sort of put Wesley's crew when they, Mark Alberts or whatever his name was.
Didn't they kill somebody?
Like in Next Generation,
And
they present the Academy of being like this incredibly hard place to get into, and like even Wesley Crusher struggles to get into Starfleet Academy. But then on the other hand, they let other people in who are clearly idiots and get blown up all the time. So I don't know.
I kind of would have preferred if it wasn't like they were considering charging them, like they'd already gone through that with them. It was just like kind of marks on their record and not being admitted to Starfleet. Because why would you charge them? Like they didn't do anything wrong, really, when you think about it.
The list of offenses is so long it would take all afternoon to read. So.
Like in whose jurisdiction, by the way? They weren't in Starfleet space. They have no jurisdiction out there. Like who has charged them for what, man? Like they didn't do anything in your space, so you can't do it. Like
and don't forget about the prejudice for the
including this augment.
I don't like these guys.
Augment prejudice here,
The admirals do not like augments. That's been confirmed.
Yeah.
And concerning the augment, whose name you've conveniently forgotten, his name is Dal RL.
You go, Janeway.
Call out that racist.
Go get
Doesn't
him,
Pog say that?
Go get him, Janeway.
Yeah.
Janeway's one of the good ones.
Good intentions do not make up for Federation crimes.
They do all the time.
All the time. It's literally what they do all the time.
That's basically Picard's career.
Yeah, it's basically all they do. I really like the Federation president in Star Trek Discovery season 4. It literally has something very much to that, like where it's like Book, who had been that whole spoilers for Discovery, sorry, but like that whole season is like going off Book and is like trying to destroy this threat on his own and breaking the rules. And at the end they're like, well, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe we'll just send him on like a little community service or whatever.
Cisco didn't get court-martialed after gassing that planet because of his intentions.
It's the only way justice can ever be just.
I mean, part of the destruction is really their fault. Like their emergency SOS system was really dumb. Like, there's like hundreds of ships sending out SOSs. Let's send more ships. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's send even more ships and let this go even worse for us. So maybe like they need some work here. But anyway, so then there's kind of like the end of that. Oh yeah, one thing she says in her speech here that Janeway says really stuck out to me.
We designed a ship that could explore the far reaches of our understanding in hope of finding others who share our ideals so that we may create a stronger alliance.
So what stood out to me is like we built a ship to explore, to find people, like-minded people, to basically grow the Federation. Is kind of what she says, and something that kind of stuck out to me a little bit as a sentiment because the original Star Trek premise is like to seek out new life, new civilizations, more broadly, and not necessarily just like-minded cultures, but definitely that would be a goal as well, or something that's advantageous. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a different take on it. I never really thought about it. It's always ever just been presented as like exploring for the sake of exploring. This seems kind of stronger alliance against who?
Yeah, it's like is that the idea? The Federation is this idea of like a mutual defense pact, maybe something like NATO, maybe something different than that, but it's got to say we don't want to explore so we can grow our alliance, which is kind of a unique statement. I don't know if it was intended like that, but it was something for Star Trek a little different, a little bit of a tweak on the normal sentiment there. So,
well, I mean, in the time that this is after the Dominion War and everything, like, and even near towards the end of, well, I guess the TNG movies is a better example because they even comment on it. The Federation has stopped exploring for the most part.
Well, especially later on, this will happen. We know that the Federation will go sort of through a rough time in this.
Remember when we used to be explorers? Remember that line?
Yeah, not really. Anyway, so afterwards, they're kind of waiting. They're waiting out here on the bench, waiting for like the results of the hearing, I guess, or the deliberations. Gwen's already looking sad. I feel like she already kind of knows what's coming, or that she's already kind of
she's made her decision and told Janeway.
She's already made her decision. So I guess Janeway knows about it, and she gives a look here, and so she says, "Good news! Charges have been dropped. You are all clear." And what about Starfleet Academy? Well, you got in. You didn't get into Starfleet Academy exactly because that wouldn't be fair to the kids who already have like done all the written oral tests, is what they explained here. So you have been recruited as warrant officer recruits, basically, which is a whole new thing. This is a very unprecedented thing in Star Trek, although a warrant officer is a real thing in like naval services. It's
kind of Star Trek in beta canon.
Who's that?
There's been warrant officers in books. They even have names.
Yeah, like I think there have been warrant. I know in Babylon 5 they've had warrant officers. Not that that's Babylon 5. I just like to reference it because Garibaldi on that show was a warrant officer. But it would make sense. Most military branches have some version of warrant officers, and they're kind of like a.
Nelix is essentially a warrant officer.
Well, he's the morale officer. You could maybe classify him as such, but it's kind of
on missions.
It's separate than an enlisted rank. It's separate than a traditional officer line. It's kind of its own thing. So that's what they're going to be.
Very much like enlisted men, they can be thought of as equivalent to their enlisted rank equivalents. So you could still like have a situation where the captain goes down and the highest rank, like chief, often takes over command on DS9, even though he's an enlisted fella.
Right. I always thought that like Chief O'Brien should have been presented as a warrant officer because that's kind of the fact that he would even take command in a command situation, like as he explains in a couple episodes, makes him kind of almost warrant officer versus traditional enlisted. But anyway, so it was interesting for them to kind of introduce that here as we go on with ranks. And
I feel like that was just the case of them like digging through the lore to find a way. It was like, well, we can't have a second season of them just sitting there studying for exams for like we got to figure out how to get them back out into space. So
right, well, they have the opportunity to do a bit of a time jump here, but yeah, they could have like and then 2 years later we were done Starfleet Academy. But anyway, but Gwen says she's not going with them. She's not Dal is kind of a fake out here where Dal thinks he didn't get in because he's an augment, but even he got in, and Gwen's not coming because she has to go try to save the timeline-ish situation or the timey-wiminess of her. She's going off on her own path, here. But is she leaving the show, you think, Jessica, or do you think that we're going to see more of Gwen?
Yeah, no, I think we're going to get a time jump, and then my guess is either she's going to come back with some problem she needs their help with, or they're going to jump and we're going to see her in the future. So we're going to get like old woman Gwen.
Yeah.
I was thinking I think they're going to go 50 years in the future to where Chakotay is. She's going to meet them there somehow. I think she'll still be young, but maybe you're right. Maybe she will be.
They did say alternate future, but yeah, see, I don't know how
they
she could be there.
That's why I said somehow.
Yeah, that actually doesn't make sense, actually, when I think about it, because she shouldn't exist in that timeline, really.
No.
But
which is why they have to say alternate future, I feel like, so that that's not necessarily a stake of the storyline moving forward, because I think we are going to get to this. But when we start off season 2, do you think like Ella Purnell is here? Do you think Gwen is like main cast every episode, or is only going to be a recurring character? Where is this going from here?
I think she'll be absent in like episode 1, and then she'll show up like that'll be the cliffhanger right at the end, just like guys, I need your help or something. She'll show up later.
Okay, so it's kind of like when Worf left the Enterprise to join the war with Gowron. I'm going off. I'm leaving the Enterprise. I resign my commission, but by the end of the next season, he's right back where he was, back on the ship. So, will it be one of those situations or not? It's kind of what I'm curious about.
Or they could keep her on with like flashbacks or something. Here or there.
Unless they want to carry on her storyline.
Or carry her, and we're kind of flipping between the storylines. Is that something they want to do? Maybe.
I definitely think we're going to get some like timey-wimey business, though. Something's going to, like, it's going to be some weird, like, 2 people, or maybe they're going to cut to Gwen, but we're going to find out she's in a totally different timeline than we thought she was, or something like that. It's going to be, they're going to mess with us a little, I think.
I also just was curious. Murph is also in Starfleet now. He's a warrant officer recruit.
Yes.
Murph,
he's a security officer.
He seems like he might be a little bit not ready yet. He might need to mature. He can't even speak. Really,
he can speak to Rock Talk.
Oh, I don't know.
I just want a scene of him like jamming out with Riker at some point.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Jazz, Murphy no shoes, and Riker on trombone.
Give me warp in the factor of 5, 6, 7, 8.
So we have Rock Talk here, who goes into the lab because we get a bit of a montage here as they continue their training. So they are learning; they're getting some training here on Earth, although they're not cadets per se. And they're going to become warrant officers, as we mentioned. Anyway, then this lieutenant commander woman comes along, and she's like, "Do you know about xenobiology?" And Rock Talk's like, "Is that one of the sciences? Is that one of like the 372 sciences?" Because she's like, "You like Murph, and Murph's like a xeno, kind of like a new life form we've never seen before, or don't know much about, at least."
Was that officer? Was that based anyone, by the way? Was there like a detail about that? It's just her, the officer about the xenobiologist. She just seemed like
familiar.
Yeah, well, it just didn't seem like a basic character design. It looked like it was based off someone, so I thought it was like something I missed.
Maybe it's meant to be somebody, but I don't know who. Like,
well, I checked the credits, and whatever the actress's name was, like, I can't remember the last name, was like Morrison. Their actual real name is Morrison, and they're Dr. Morrison or something like that. So I thought, I'm like, is this someone I'm supposed to know?
Maybe this is like someone they know in real life, maybe?
Yeah, because they didn't look like the generic.
Maybe this is the winner of a contest. Who's to say? Maybe that's something we can find out in details discovered by Dave. I'll see if I can find anything on that. But yeah, just so they're hanging there, and then in the montage, Jankum's gonna smash something with his hammer, and then they're all like, "Oh, this Tellarate's dumb." But don't worry, he's actually going to use it to
enthusiastically unscrewing.
Out of this Death Star thing or whatever he's doing. Takes out the holographic bolt, and we also see guys, Zero.
Like it.
Zero with the new Davan's against this. Jessica,
are you
It looks like something out of Portal.
Portal.
It looks like one of the robots from Portal, Portal 2. That's what it looks like.
I
Does
liked
anyone-
it. I like this new look. I
To
don't
me,
know.
it
I
looks
haven't.
like Mela, like my baby's like a little like white noise alarm thing. But
I think
Yeah.
it's good though. I like it. I mean,
Well,
I
better
think
than
like
this trash can look she had before. You know.
yeah, well, that's what I mean. You can't like enlist in Starfleet and then leave them just like a hunk of junk like they were before. They gotta.
Yeah, Murph should be in Starfleet. Okay, fine, but he can't talk. That's my only reason. So it's kind of hard to communicate with him for that reason. But anyway, so here we got Gwyn and Dal. I was thinking about the real names. They're here, and so now Dal in his Starfleet attire, although he's still got his boots and his hands things going on and accentuations, and we have a new costume here for Gwyn, where she's got like the high boots, and she's kind of got this new red attire, although she still has the Starfleet comm badge. They both have the new comm badge, like the one that Jameel's been wearing. They're not wearing like that Protostar specific one now, at least for the moment. And yeah, they're kind of in Starfleet and going on here, but they kind of have their little bit of moment. She talks about where she has to go find her planet. They don't really tell us how far away it is exactly, but
I hated that because he asks her straight up and she just completely like doesn't answer the
she kind of deflects it. She's like, anyway,
she's like, "Yep, it's glad that I finally know where my new planet
it's
is."
glad that I
It's
finally
like,
know where. And because
he
he just
just-
asked her, and he still doesn't know as far as we know.
I
Maybe
don't like
she-
her this whole scene really because I don't like their relationship a whole lot because I always got the impression he's like 16 or 15 and she's like 25.
where she's
Like,
2. Who's to say? Yeah.
who knows?
They were smooching. Jessica, what did you think of this whole thing? And are you happy with the relationship?
It's sweet. I like it. I mean, it's definitely very TV and like, we kind of get them together, but also now we're about to split them apart. It's very, very typical. But
I liked it too. But
I think it's also like very, like I find TV writers just hate couples because they just don't know what to do with them. Like
Right,
it's
'cause
the
any
will they
conflict.
won't they. Yeah, the will they won't they is what they think people are interested in, and they just don't know how to write. So like, I mean,
you can still
also,
have conflict. You can make it interesting if you do it right. Like I think after like Tom Paris and B'Elanna got together, it wasn't worse for it. Like there was still
Brian and
interesting
Keiko, fantastic dynamic.
the little they used Keiko on Deep Space Nine. I think I think Rob had more guest appearances.
go back to Bejor.
go back to Bejor and your plants at Sabar.
Uh,
I definitely have that somewhere, but hold on. Anyway, so just to end some beautiful shots here in this episode. I want to make some of these like backgrounds. They're just the team is here minus Gwyn. They're looking on the steps out here in San Francisco, watching the sun go down. Looks quite nice here on Earth, and then looking out into San Francisco Bay. They kind of wish Gwyn a good time off here, a good, see her off, and then we see the hangar opens up, guys, and a new ship, a new Protostar. Although they don't get the name of this ship.
Not the ship I was hoping it was going to be.
What were you hoping for?
Well, I think we're going to get it, but I'm disappointed we didn't get it in this episode. I don't want to wait a whole new season to get that reveal. Clearly, you know what I'm to get. You know what I'm talking about.
No, sorry.
Oh man, they're totally gonna use Voyager.
oh yeah, okay. I didn't know.
Is that what they
I was
meant?
gonna be wrong.
I got
She's just
something.
like, I got something bigger in mind for us, not these little protostars. She's gonna put them in Voyager. We're gonna get Voyager again. It's gonna be amazing.
Okay,
she's gonna break
okay,
it out
but
of the museum.
But okay, here's
It's gonna be
okay.
amazing.
I got a theory then. Okay, I got a theory. If they are
That's
going
the
to
theory. I just made the theory. That's the
Okay.
theory.
I agree with that part of the theory. I'm adding to the theory. So,
All right.
but why would they wouldn't show us this unless it's coming along as well on the mission, right?
No, I just think they want to continue that. And we'll see them again, but I don't
Do you
think
think
it's gonna.
do you think
I
it's
think-
possible that this new protostar could be integrated into Voyager as some kind of aero shuttle?
Oh geez, it's a bit big for that, isn't it?
Maybe not. You see here,
That'd
it's
be
not
something,
that.
but I
Now
feel
you
like
see,
that you'd never fit that in a hangar.
no, but like if you could integrate it into like the lower hull,
Well, like the captain's yacht.
yeah, the captain's yacht. That's what the Aero Shuttle was on Voyager, right? It
Yeah.
already has that
Yeah.
sort of built in, and the
Right.
Protostar is not that much bigger. Or
I mean,
than,
it's small enough
Mm.
that it doesn't need to be in space dock, right? It's actually just on the ground. So
because that would be interesting. Where like the Protostar or whatever this new ship is called could be like a secondary craft to like the mothership, if it's Voyager, or something else. But I think I like that theory.
I guess it would make sense
gotta-
that they can't be on the Protostar, right? Because as you said, it's really small. They took up the whole crew, so she's taking them as warrant officers. They can't be her only crew, which means
Right.
they need space for them and like an actual official
Jason
crew.
Alexander, Andorian guy who's sort of cranky and not very good at his job. Get ahead of them.
Yeah, these like bogus officers she has, like who are just gonna be giving a hard time all the time. I like to keep
Just
them
have
around.
the best crew.
Yeah,
She needs
it's
Harry
like
Kim back.
Essentia, who turned out to be the villain, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she got no comeuppance in this episode. She like there was no like
Or Marshall for her.
resolution.
Yeah.
There was not even mention like, oh, we're gonna find that Vindicator who tried to destroy us, and laughed at us in the message right before she went away. There was
I told you I thought they'd be floating around like those, recurring bad guys that just gonna pop up every now and then. It'll be their version of Q, kind of.
well, I think they'll be
Popping
back
in and
for
out.
sure. Yeah, Power Ranger style. Anyway, we got bigger things in mind, everybody. Let's go, and then
Yeah, Voyager, man, this was such a letdown for me at the end. I love.
you wanted to see it.
The doors started to open, the music started to play. I'm like, it's the Voyager theme song. It's not.
But then we have to cut away here.
What's
where
going
Dal-
on here?
That's what I thought it was too. And then I was like,
Dal's
oh,
looking up at the
wasn't.
sky, and he's watching Gwyn, like I guess, warp away, right? Because that's what this is. This is about Gwyn leaving, and then that's the end of it. So I don't know. It
Good,
feels
but
like
I wanted to see Voyager at the end.
they fit a tremendous amount of stuff in this 22 minutes. On the other
Felt like
hand,
a TNG episode.
it felt like a
40
lot,
minutes.
although they had to like do these big skips and parts. But I was okay with the ones they made. Where like I don't know, what were they doing for a month before they found Earth? Why did it need to be a month? Why not a week? I don't know. Like so, it was kind of just.
Well, I think the intercut was them being introduced to their, like stations. They're learning a little bit. They're learning the ropes a little. That's what they were doing.
I mean when like after hologram Janeway dies, right? Yeah, the Voyager A we had our shuttle bay. Well, yeah, like there it could be. It could be a new Voyager. Could be like the Voyager A.
Refit.
Because it's possible the old Voyager was decommissioned.
Oh, I bet you she was decommissioned, but that's why I think she's available for Janeway. Janeway's just like, I know what ship I want. She got me back from the Delta Quadrant. Like, what ship would you trust more?
Because by Star Trek
Voyager's a
Discovery in the
trustworthy
30s.
vessel. Enterprises ain't worth the shit they're made out of. Like, they blow up in like 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, but yeah, in
But
Discovery,
Voyager's
we know
ship.
by the 32nd century they've gotten to like Voyager J by then. There's going to be multiple generations of Voyagers to come. So it could be a Voyager.
And she wants to go through that
Noble
wormhole.
line.
So
yeah.
what other ship like that has? That's kind of yeah.
Yeah,
makes
well, like
sense.
I don't know. I
Voyager
don't know if I
knows wormhole.
need the Protostar. I wasn't attached to that ship per se. I like that the show is called Star Trek Prodigy, or Progeny, or whatever you want to call it. It's not called Star Trek Protostar, so it doesn't have to follow like the Protostar at all. It can be just about this crew, the Prodigies, who are going to, I don't know, become captains maybe in their own right one day or something. I don't know. I'm kind of curious what they'll do with these characters, but
I think it's just their ongoing MacGuffin now, with this new line of protostars they're doing, because they're going to be doing all these timey-wimey shenanigans. They're going to need that proto drive to make all that happen. So they just, plot devices going forward.
we got a couple details I'll discover here, everybody.
I have the details of that character if you don't have them.
Oh, okay. Of which character?
The one I pointed out that was like, who is that supposed to be? Oop, I'm glued.
What's her deal?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, please. I don't have that.
Oh, okay. I
She
thought
got
you said you were
discovered by
sure.
Jessica.
Yeah.
So that is, so I got it wrong. It was not Morrison. It's McDonald, Erin McDonald, and she is the actual Star Trek science consultant, and she also voices the character.
Oh,
Cool.
okay. That one who were like, who is this? It seems like this is meant to be somebody specific. Yeah. Okay. Aaron McDonald.
Very
Okay,
good.
so then the other thing too was following the species introduction in Prodigy, All the World's a Stage, the Enterprisian can be seen in the same class in Starfleet Academy as Rock Talk. What? The Enterprisian, the ones who talked like
Yeah, they were great, the Enterprisians.
Wait, what?
Enterprisians. I gotta go back and see
The
if I
guys
can
that
find-
like talked with like all the Star Trek characters. Like one of them would talk
Oh
like
yeah,
Sulu.
there is one there. Sorry,
and
here,
like,
here, that's a good point. Look.
oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Maybe they're joining Starfleet.
Yeah.
That's they're gonna be awkward to be around in Starfleet because they're gonna be like the ultimate kind of like fanboys.
Let's see the first one who joins. Oh man, I gotta find that. Where's my Ender Prisons? I can't even remember how long ago that was. Oh, here we go.
That was wild.
This is Ensign Garrett.
Oh, that's the Garavik thing here.
They are Starflight?
Well, they answered the call. You must hear the logs. We've stayed prepared and kept them word for word, just as our forefathers did. So, we must play the logs. Everyone, to the bridge!
Nice.
That's gonna be
the logs.
That's gonna be a total mind F though, really, when you think about it. It's like discovering that your whole religion is like an actual, like that'd be like being on a starship with like Jesus and stuff.
Yeah. Or like I'm Aries or something. Yeah, weird like that.
Yeah.
Granddaughter of Sulu.
Sulu. Or was there Bones? I can't remember who the Bones guy was called. Okay, so through a message from Chakotay, the episode established that the events which concluded with the original crew of the USS Prostar ending up stranded on Solemn in a now alternate future took place 52 years from 2384, so that would be 2436. Many years after the events of Picard as well, so that's pretty. But I don't know what else is going
So
on.
I wonder if that's why they say it's an alternate future too, because they don't want to have a messy whatever going on
Jumping around
Picard.
the timelines so much now in the series, yeah. Like this
Yeah.
series is here, this series is this part in the timeline. Like they're all in way different parts of the timeline. It's like 5 series, and none of them are happening at the same time.
Well, remember that timeline where Jake Sisko became Tony Todd for an episode, and
yeah,
and then he died, and then he went back to being Sir
Visitor.
Lofton.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a good one. But they've done weird time things all the time, where that doesn't count, or that never happened, or Edith Keeler must die. They've done time travel. Time travel can be quite brutal. Those are all the details to, I guess, discover, guys. But we made it. We made it to the end here of season 1, 20 episodes.
Woo!
We've rated them all. Let's bring in our what we thought here, and we don't know when exactly we'll be back. So
I had a funny thought, by the way. Maybe because I'm late to watching Strange New Worlds, but I was watching the episode where apparently everyone kept commenting on Pike's hair, how big it is, and I was looking at Dal, and I was like, "Is part of his human DNA Pike's? He's got the hair."
Making pasta mama.
Pasta mama.
Pasta mama.
Yeah. Supernova Part 2, everybody. I'm going higher on this one than the first part, which I only gave a 7.5. I liked this much more, especially all the speeches and some of the more emotional moments. I'm going 9.5. This finale. Evan?
I was gonna give it a 10, but now I'm kind of sour that I didn't get to see Voyager, so I'm gonna give it a 9.5 as well.
9.5. Okay. And Jessica?
I'll go full 10 since I felt like I was a little harsh on the previous episode.
Okay. And so that gives it a 9.7. So we clearly all loved this episode a lot. It was, I think, a really nice way to go out here in the finale. It's like they stuck the landing. Sam's going 10. He's going big 10 here. It has a 9.4 at the moment on IMDb with just 38 votes. And directed by Ben Hibbett, who directed a bunch of these episodes, including the Moral Star Part 2 and 1.
It's a
That's
great
cool.
one as well.
Yeah. So we just want to look here. What was the best? So we had a couple perfect 10s, including a Moral Star Part 2 and All the World's a Stage, which was the episode with Ender Prisians.
Really? All right, I'm taking it back. I'm giving this one a 10. I think this was my favorite episode of the series. I can't hold it against it. They're saving the Voyager reveal for next season.
This is pretty
It's like,
good.
it's their friggin' best of both worlds.
I'm going 9.8.
Come on, Dave. You can do it.
9.9.
You can do it.
Room
Me
for
to say.
improvement. So close enough. It's rounding up to a 10. So these are some great episodes in here. If we look back to where we started, Lost and Found, episode 1 and 2, respectively, which was a longer two-parter, I guess, but we didn't view it that time. We gave it collectively a 7.8. Guys, we watched that back in October of 2021. So it's been
a long road getting from there to here.
It's been a long road.
Really?
And here,
Wow.
Yeah, so at least it didn't spill into 2023, which would have, been a full 2 years for one season. But I feel like the story they told here was really good. I can't wait for other people who haven't been following along week to week to see this whole season and to hear what they think about it and how they
watch our podcast
and hear our podcast. I wonder if they're gonna. Do you think our friends are gonna like watch an episode and stop and like, what did they think about after that episode?
Maybe.
But
that would make it a long time. Like, just because 22 minutes an episode, then they have to listen to us talk for an hour. It would take them quite a while to get through the whole season.
They would have such a great time. I don't know. It's hard to say. That's why we do this part.
Maybe Jaemeel.
It is good. It is good though. I when I finished Lower Decks, I was like, I need to go watch what you guys talked about. I wanted to know what your thoughts were on the finale. So.
Oh, that's good. Okay, yeah, we often do get on finales in particular. Often get a lot more reaction than like the week-to-week episode. So I imagine this video will as well. We got, of course, a bunch of live viewers with us tonight. And if you didn't know, we do all kinds of different Star Trek podcasts here on Live Long and Podcast. In our Red Command division, that's all about like TV episodes like this, like Star Trek Prodigy. But we talked about Discovery, of course, Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Picard, all the new great ones. Picard, I think, is coming out in the new year in February, so we'll be back for that. Also, Star Trek Enterprise and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We've been going back and watching those. We're on a bit of a hiatus right now for Christmas, but we'll be back in January, picking up in season 3 and season 6, respectively, of those two shows. Plus, we've talked about Star Trek original series, and we've had all kinds of back catalogs of the movies and different things we've shown off. Our science division, which Davan leads, it has all kinds of things like debates and trivia sessions and games.
Probes. Don't forget the probes.
Don't forget the Class L probes as well. And the locutors of Trek as well.
Basically the adventures of Plain Simple Tailors.
Plain Simple Tailors, where they go into they answer the unanswered questions. They might be asking about some things from Star Trek Prodigy. They might.
I like to say what we do with that show is that's the show where we tie Star Trek into the real world. And we discuss the parallels between our world and the world of Star Trek and how to make our world more like Star Trek. At least that's what the audio podcast is.
I love it. There's also the operations division, our gold division, which just fun projects like Star Trek Radio Theater, which we did our recording earlier this month. This was not that long ago. December 16th, we did the live recording. Where
pain.
Get Star Trek.
Spare
Get that pain. Get that pain. I got to get to the edit, guys. I was meaning. I've had chances, but I'm also on vacation, so I haven't been pushing myself. But I will be doing the edit to come in the near future. I think we're also going to be recording a new the Lower Decks comic book, Davan, on Radio Theater or something like that.
It's true. I'm working on the script. I'm getting there.
I'm waiting for the comic book store to call me with my third issue. So, yeah.
Oh wow, it's gonna be good.
And I think that
Jessica's gonna do a lot of roles, so I might swap your roles around a bit. I've been reading through the comic again, and I might have there might be too much of you having a conversation with yourself.
You're like Rick and Morty me. I'm just gonna be talking to myself.
She can do it. Like when we did
you can.
In Final Frontier, you had to go back and forth, and I was like, I didn't realize that gave you so much talking to yourself, but until I saw.
Who was I even talking to?
You were like,
Maybe I'll
you
leave
were
it there.
Starfleet voice, you were like command voice, and you were
Oh, right.
Uhura.
It was Uhura talking to Starfleet.
And they were two
Command.
very different voices. And you had to like keep flipping. It was something. So, we're sorry. Yeah. Anyway, so all the great things here on Live Long and Podcast. Thanks for being with us here in 2022. We hope you'll be with us into the new year. Check out all our great content over there. Plus, we're part of a federation of podcasts, including Jessica is off and on the Hellbound podcast with Michael Chan and Alex Blackburn, where they're talking horror. They just put up a new episode yesterday. It briefly said it was the last episode ever. Turned out to be a misprint. So
yeah, I think I'm on that one. Yeah, I was talking about the horror games I was playing. So
the horror games, okay,
sort of horror adjacent, I would say, but not that they're not that scary.
Like Goosebumps.
No,
like Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No, they're just kind of these weird little evolving games that, like, as you play, you evolve. But it's kind of like Ghost in the Machine, kind of creepy DOS kind of. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Listen to the episode.
Listen to the episode. You'll hear all about it. It's gonna be great. Also, check out Super Mario Brothers Podcasting. We are brothers. Where we talk about all kinds of different shows, scripted and unscripted shows. Most recently, wrapped up Survivor season 43. We did the whole thing there. We also did Big Brother and Big Brother Canada, and we also have the Mary Mater Marvel Society with Dave, Davan, and Jaemeel. We just did a whole MCU 2022 review show. Good times. We were how long? We went like 3 hours, Davan, didn't we?
It was 3 hours, but we had 9 series and movies to cover.
We talked about
and
everything that came out in
ceremony.
2022. We talked about Black Panther 2. We talked about the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Yeah, I couldn't.
It was 3 hours of me springing shit on Dave and Jaemeel. They didn't know they were gonna have to summarize the shows offhand and not look at any cheat sheets.
That's hard, man.
Some of them were harder than others to talk about, but it was an interesting process, and definitely enjoyed it. And I can't wait to talk more Marvel with Jaemeel and Davan over there on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting channel. It's where you can find that stuff. Plus, you should also check out X-Rated, Davan's X-Men show, where they talk about the X-Men the animated series. They did a great interview with Allison Seeley Smith not too long ago, a few weeks ago. In addition to their ongoing podcast of covering the episodes, also have interviewed like Erica and Julia Leewald over there, as well as Lenore Zahn, the voice of Rogue. So you guys are
Emmy award-winning writer Brooks Wachtel.
Yeah, you guys got some great interviews over there, and some, and of course, going through all the episodes of that classic
Check
cartoon
out his
show.
book, by the way, Lady Sherlock in the Circle of the Smiling Dead.
That sounds fun. You do that show with Andre, who has another podcast called Graphics History, where they talk about graphic novels. He did a strictly interview show, does all kinds of great interviews, like with the cinematographer from The Shining and different artists.
Blythe,
yeah. Hold Up, a movie podcast with Murphy and Davan every second Wednesday.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to the recent one yet, but I heard it was heated.
No, the most recent one was the opposite of heated. We agreed on everything for the first time in the show's history.
Oh, was it just Jaemeel who was disagreeing with everything?
Yeah, just Jaemeel. Well, Jaemeel was just overwhelmed by when Murphy started to talk about thick boys.
Okay.
Wait.
It's boy summer, apparently.
It's a thick boy summer.
Is that a reference to a movie, or is there a movie called?
I have no idea. From the mind of Murphy, you got to check out Hold Up for all that crazy stuff.
Davan was there. Davan was there too, but he doesn't really understand it. So maybe you will.
No, I don't get it.
Check that one out. I think that's all the Federation members. So
what about the Hellbound podcast?
I talked about that one.
We did, yeah.
Oh, we did that one.
My
bad.
We can talk about it again.
What about the KBBBL podcast? The extra B is for.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I know. I have missed two. I've missed the KBBL Simpsons podcast with
and Trivial Debates.
And Trivial Debates. Most recently, our Christmas edition with me hosting, Davan, Max, and Sterling competing. It was a lot of fun. We talked about what was the most timeless Christmas movie, what's the best rendition of Little Drummer Boy, which you were all.
Mine was the only pick with a drum in it. So
can my pick be Chris Farley playing it on his stomach on SNL?
That's a good
the
pick,
best
but
version.
the best
the
one,
pick I
actually.
was hoping for was William Shatner's version from his Christmas album.
Great too.
It's a great one. That would have won. I think almost hands down, but no one stumbled upon it. So anyway, okay, so that's all of them, guys. Thanks for being with us. We wish you a very happy New Year here from Live Long and Podcast. Be safe out there, and we'll see you for the next one whenever Prodigy is back. If you're only covering Prodigy, Live Long and Podcast, and we need a quote to go out on here. Let's find one.
You got one.
Go boldly.
There's my beetle snap.
Yeah, no, I know. It's this goodbye from the hologram, Janeway.
I did what I had to so that you could fulfill your potential. I'm truly proud to have seen how far you've all come. My only regret is not being there when you arrive at the steps of Starfleet Academy. Because together, your potential is infinite. Now, go boldly.